Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 7th Annual SDCF Awards. My name is Eleanor Scott. I am an SDCF trustee, and it is my honor and pleasure to be your host this evening. Tonight, we celebrate the remarkable talent of our fellow SDC members who are nominees and recipients for the Callaway Awards, celebrating excellence in directing and choreography off-Broadway, the Zelda Fitch Handler Award for the deep investment in artistic accomplishment in the eastern region of the United States, and the award for lifetime achievement and distinguished service in the nonprofit theater, the Gordon Davidson Award. You can learn more about these lovely recipients and finalists in the SDCF Awards program, which has been shared in the chat. Yes, I said chat because we are thrilled to be sharing this via live stream. So there is a chat function. We want y'all to talk to each other, respond live to the speeches and the remarks. So please, get out the fingers, talk to each other. We want to hear from you. There's so much brilliant art happening all over our country and the world, and I'm honored to be with you all tonight, shepherding these festivities. Our field and world may be ever changing, but this year has shown us that theater and theater makers persist and continue to make their art with dedication and innovation. And tonight's honorees are certainly among those innovators, and I'm sure you want to hear what they have to say. So I'm going to stop talking and kick off tonight's show by introducing the president of the SDCF board, Seema Sueko.
Thank you so much for hosting this evening's awards. Aloha kako. My name is Seema Sueko, president of the SDCF Board of Trustees, and I'm pleased to welcome audience from across the nations and across the oceans, all gathering virtually to honor our peer directors and choreographers and celebrate the rigor and joy of our craft. The Stage Directors and Choreographers Foundation, SDCF, is a sister organization of the Union, Stage Directors and Choreographers Society, SDC. In addition to awards, the foundation provides professional development programs, networking gatherings, panels and podcasts, a monthly bulletin, research, special events, and an emergency assistance fund. Please visit sdcfoundation.org to learn more about our work and explore how you can get involved. Your SDCF trustees are Vice President and Secretary Mark Brokaw, Treasurer Sharon Ott, Maggie Burrows, Justin Emeka, Laura Penn, Eleanor Scott, Maria Torres, and Victoria Traub. We thank SDCF Director Danny Barlow for leading our work at the foundation, and Program Associate Hannah Kooten for shepherding many of our programs and initiatives. And a special thank you to Ellie Handel, who is directing and producing this award ceremony. And now, let's start with the first award of the event, the Callaway Award. Here's Shay Sullivan to tell us all about it.
Hi everyone, my name is Shay Sullivan and I'm the chair of the Callaway Committee. I am thrilled to be joining you all tonight. Myself, along with the SDCF Callaway Award Committee for the 2022-23 season, were tasked with seeing over 70 shows off Broadway. The work we saw was original, it was inspiring, it was endlessly creative, and it was downright awesome. I would like to thank the full Callaway Committee for their dedication and participation, including William Carlos Angulo, Pam Berlin, Maggie Burrows, Roger Danforth, Richard Hamburger, Del Howlett, Margaret Perry, Amy Saltz, Danya Tamor, and Che Yu. We truly had a ball. I'm honored to present each of our finalists for the Callaway Award for both direction and choreography and share a short montage of each show with you. Knud Adams' primary trust at Roundabout was not only touching, but it was wonderfully whimsical. Knud beautifully led an extraordinary cast, and the show moved seamlessly.
One more. Another round. One more, por favor, and an order of those fancy shrimp.
Thank you for this acknowledgement for the third year in a row. I'm the Glenn Close of the Callaway Award. And my eternal gratitude to Ebony Booth, William Jackson Harper, the entire cast and crew of Primary Trust for making that process so nurturing, and to Todd Hames, who championed this play immediately and didn't get to see it premiere. And lastly, while I have the attention of the SDC community in what I'm sure will be a little while, I'd like to encourage us to find a way to make our healthcare program more accessible and flexible. I don't think there can be a greater purpose to our collective leadership during these uncertain times. Thank you very much.
Dustin Will's production of Wolf Play at MCC Theater was inspired and imaginative. Dustin used the space gorgeously, fully, and crafted a singular theatrical experience.
Hi, thanks so much for this recognition. It's a real honor to be recognized by other professional directors and choreographers in the field, because y'all know what it's like to, get your hands dirty. And I really want to thank everybody who worked on Wolf Play, all three iterations, but especially to Hansel Jung, the brilliant playwright, my collaborator, my friend, and the rest of the pack, the performers who brought the whole thing to life, and the designers who were just brilliant every step along the way. And also especially to Kaysen Marukin, the stage manager, who held it all together. That was a tough show to call, and you know what? He called it. So thank you, everybody. Thanks.
Edgar Godino's work on The Harder They Come at the Public was spectacular.
Hello, Kingston! Me name Ivan, and I'm gonna make a record,
His work was show-stopping, full of gorgeous musicality, and totally infectious.
Get it if you really want.
Hey SDC fam, it's Edgar Godino here in Jamaica, representing The Harder They Come the musical. Thank you for the nomination for the Callaway Award, and congrats to our finalists. One love.
Steph Paul's choreography in Where the Mountain Meets the Sea at MTC was seamless and organic. The movement was deeply rooted in storytelling and was truly joyful.
Years later, it is a scent I will occasionally get at the airport when I pick up a bag, a piece of luggage. I will wonder if it's hers.
It's such a gift and an honor to be recognized for my work on Where the Mountain Meets the Sea. It is hands down one of the most important plays, experiences I've ever had in the theater, and honestly in life. Getting to work on this work by Jeff Augustine, a Haitian-American playwright. I'm also Haitian-American, and to tell the story of our people was such a gift. Where the Mountain Meets the Sea ended up being the first play of mine that my dad ever saw. It is also a play that my mom brought countless of friends and fellow Haitians to come see. They were just so proud to see our experiences, our people, our stories represented on stage. And I am so grateful to our cast, Abigail Bankson, Sean Bankson, Chris Myers, Billy Eugene Jones, for trusting me, partnering with me, and sharing themselves in the creation of the movement and the story as a whole. And also thank you to our brilliant and just what a pal you are, Josh. I love our director, Josh Brody, and I'm just so thankful for that experience, the experience that the show was, and the experience that the show still continues to be in my heart. So thank you for the recognition, and thank you for celebrating the work.
Thank you to all our Callaway Award finalists and committee members for a truly unforgettable season. Congratulations on all of your hard work. I'd now like to turn it over to Bartlett Shear, who will introduce the awardee for the Callaway Award for Direction.
Hi, everybody. My name is Bart Shear, and I'm very, very excited and deeply honored to be here to present the Callaway Award to my dear, good friend, Pam McKinnon. Pam and I have been friends and colleagues for longer than either of us would be willing to admit, but I have been very moved and inspired and admiring of her career for a very, very long time. What Pam did this year to earn the Callaway Award is extraordinary. She took on one of the great plays written in the last 40 years by Bruce Norris, Downstate, and a very challenging and complex subject, and translated it and interpreted and brought it to the stage brilliantly at Playwrights Horizons. And the work she did was so effortless and so exquisite over such a complex topic that I think there was really nobody else on earth who should be winning the Callaway Award this year other than Pam McKinnon. So I hope everyone there loves her as much as I do and knows what a great artist she is and how important she is to all of us in the American theater. And we are very, very excited and honored that she is this year's recipient of the Callaway Award. Thank you.
To share this year's Joe A. Callaway Award with choreographer Orlando Pabotoy is a delight. And to carve out a moment to reflect on my own work as a director is a rare and sweet opportunity. I want to thank the SDC Foundation and our union for today. I wish we were all together, but this is second best. I am zooming in from San Francisco. I want to thank the Callaway Committee. Thank you for the peer-to-peer and colleague recognition. You know that plays do not direct themselves. You know that actors can go deeper, can land a laugh, can round out and contribute an ensemble better, only with a vigilant director and through a rehearsal process that we as directors set in motion. Thank you so much for this award. Bruce Norris wrote a mountain of a play, and I know for a fact that at least 2 directors before me read it and decided it was not a story they wanted to live with. Lucky me. And while this award celebrates the late fall 2022 production at Playwrights Horizons, which lives in strong memory, it has roots in fall 2028 at Steppenwolf. The company knew that winter in Chicago that we were making something very, very special, and it only got better. And landing in New York, coming through the pandemic, it seemed more relevant than ever. I love tackling harrowing loneliness in stories that have a lot of full house laughs to land. Stories that use living time, long scenes to be choreographed with stage business, emotional cover and release, moments paced up, moments paced down, silences earned, banter explored, and then tossed away. I love plays that wrestle with the biggest themes. In the case of Downstate, justice, the American polity, forgiveness, and how we might move on together or not. And I love plays that ultimately end in that slow creep toward dawn, built by a lighting designer with more than 100 count cue, but played out in breath. All of us, audience now included, spent but together in it. Thank you to Bruce Norris for his play. The script is undeniably dangerous and deeply heartfelt. Each character is so specific in their flaws and smarts, their blind spots, their desires to please, to just get through another day, to have a piece of toast before work, and ultimately to reconcile the past and the present. I could not have asked for a more game and generous company of actors, stage management, designers, producers, and audience services and front of house staff at every step of the way. I am grateful that my parents, Ross and Helga McKinnon, taught me to read widely and taught me to have big empathy. I am grateful to my partner, John Procaccino, for his love. I am grateful to Mark Subius, my agent, for his support. I am grateful to my staff and colleagues at ACT for making it easy for me to be a guest director beyond our theater walls. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Byron Easley, and I am tickled and thrilled to present the SDCF Joe A. Callaway Award for Outstanding Choreography to my dear friend and colleague, Orlando Pabotoy. From his days of teaching at NYU Tisch to our weekly Central Park walks, Orlando's friendship has been a cherished part of my life. even officiating my wedding. It is my honor to recognize Orlando's exceptional work on the half-god of rainfall at the New York Theater Workshop. Orlando's passion for storytelling through movement knows no bounds. His multidisciplinary talent as a choreographer, director, and more shines through, captivating audiences and enriching the production with his creative vision. Beyond his artistic brilliance, Orlando's commitment to mentoring the next generation of artists is unparalleled. As the head of physical acting at the Juilliard School, he molds young talent, instilling in them a deep reverence for the craft and an understanding of its power to transform lives. Orlando is also a compassionate advocate for art-based wellness and empowerment. Through his work with the Campfire Project, he travels to refugee spaces globally, doing trauma-based work with children, teaching them to walk on stilts, promoting creativity as a tool for healing and self-expression, providing a platform for these children to explore their creativity and refocus on the beauty and resilience of the human spirit. Tonight, we celebrate not only his artistic achievements, but also his boundless compassion and inspiring legacy. Congratulations, Orlando, on this well-deserved honor. May you continue to inspire and uplift us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Byron. I have known you for many years, and I cannot express how much this moment means to me. It is truly remarkable to be honored by someone like you. I am eagerly looking forward to our next collaboration. To the amazing committee who has chosen me for this incredible honor, I am truly humbled. I don't even know where to begin in accepting this gesture from you. It is truly a privilege and a beautiful honor that you've recognized my contribution. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Play with love, play with pain. This powerful line from the half-god of rainfall, spoken by Modupe, who became our mother for a few months, is the essence from which everything in the play bloomed out of. I want to thank the incredible cast, Jennifer, Jason, Kelly, Lizanne, Patrice, Michael, and Mr. for their artistry. I also want to acknowledge the designers, incredible designers, stage management team, the entire production team, the brave producers of New York Theater Workshop and ART. Patricia, you're just amazing. Thank you for believing in this project. To the movement team, Beatrice Capote, who bridged us to the Orishas, and my associate, Julian Robertson, who saved us countless times. Thank you for being a part of this team. And of course, our extraordinary director, Taby Magar, without whom I would not be a part of this production. Taby, you're just amazing. Please know that. Inoa Ellams, the poet, visual artist whose words inspired us and breathed life into our creation. Thank you, Inoa, for the gift of your story. You have made this little boy from De La Paz Cortez feel like he truly belongs among all of you. Again, thank you.
All right, everyone, we are about halfway through our evening, so feel free to get a snack, take a sip of your drink, take a little stretch break. I'll wait. Okay, I hope that was helpful. Hope you guys are enjoying hearing from these amazing artists. I'm back to introduce Mary B. Robinson, who will kick off the Zelda Fitch Handler Award portion of the evening by sharing a little bit about Zelda herself. Mary is the author of the newly published book on Zelda's life called To Repair the World, Zelda Fitch Handler and the Transformation of American Theater. Mary, take it away.
Hello, I'm very honored to be here tonight to participate in the celebration of the Zelda Fitch Handler Award. And I want to talk a little bit about Zelda as a young person, because we tend to think of her as a legend who founded an institution. But of course, at one time, she, just like all of us, was a young woman who loved theater and who wanted to do something that mattered with her life, but wasn't sure what that would be. When she was earning her master's in drama at George Washington University in her early 20s, her theater teacher, Ed Mangum, talked to his class about the fact that professional theater in the US at that time consisted of 10 blocks on Broadway, touring productions, and really nothing else. And Zelda said to him, "You know what? We should start a theater." It came whimsically, she said later. It came without much thought, actually. We said, okay, why don't we do that? I didn't think of myself as a pioneer in starting the theater. I started it with my teacher, and he was the senior person that I looked up to. So they leased a movie theater that had shown porn films, and they turned it into a 247-seat theater in the round, partly because they believed that configuration would save money on scenery. Arena Stage opened in the summer of 1950 as Washington's first integrated professional theater. And in the first year, they mounted 17 productions with Zelda and Ed Mangum taking turns directing. And Zelda said about that time, "I was designing sets, sometimes costumes, running lights at night, designing mailing pieces, sitting in the box office a certain number of hours a day, and sleeping on the floor." And then Ed Mangum moved to Hawaii in 1952, and Zelda was left on her own with the theater, a very low budget, and a tiny first baby, as she put it, not knowing a great deal about how to deal with any of them, she said. But she forged ahead. She and her husband, Tom, who was the volunteer CFO of Arena at the time, closed the theater in 1955 because they couldn't make ends meet, even when they sold out, and opening a 500-seat theater converted from an old brewery in 1956, just a few months after their second son was born. But that space was due to be demolished, and so they began to search for a space to raise money to build a new theater, the one we know of today. She said, "It was never a steady course about the first decade. It was full of despair. In the early years, I used to think that everything that went right was an accident, and everything that went wrong was my fault." So that was Zelda in her late 20s and early 30s. And then she spent the next 50 years building Arena Stage, running the NYU graduate acting program, and articulating the core beliefs and principles that we still live by today in the nonprofit theater. And in my oral history, Howard Schulwitz talked about how late in her life she said to him that she was still fierce in her belief of theater as having this job to do. She referred to this Hebrew phrase, tikkun olam, to repair the world. She said, "We're born with empathy, but it's wiped out by bad economic systems and bad educational systems." She said, "The audience shouldn't go out the way they came in, but it's not our job to make political points. It's our job to awaken the humanity of the audience, and then they have to figure out what to do with that." She said, "Theater has an effect, but it isn't necessarily responsible for an outcome." Zelda once said in an interview, "Plays end with questions. They don't end with go out there and do that." Because great stories don't have endings. They have to keep reverberating on into life. So the Zelda Fitch Handler Award elevates Zelda's own great story and keeps it reverberating on into our lives and our work at this very challenging time.
Hello, I'm Vivian Benish, and I had the great honor of chairing the 2023 Zelda Fitch Handler Award Committee this year. I was joined by a small but sparkling group of SDC artists, all currently based in this year's selected Eastern region: Elena Arauz, Karma Camp, and Christopher Wyndham. I want to thank them for their time, vision, and care with this exciting process. Among an incredible pool of nominated directors and choreographers at every stage of their impressive and impactful careers, the committee ultimately decided to shine light on 3 artistic leaders for whom this particular award at this particular moment would be not only an endorsement, but a propeller. Congratulations to award recipient Raymond O. Caldwell and our 2 finalists, May Adrales and Tinashe Kajese Bolden. May Adrales is already a celebrated director, educator, leader, and advocate for new voices. She's directed over 30 new works, many in her home base of New York City, but also all across the country. She's led or served on the artistic teams of resident theaters, including Milwaukee Rep, the Playwright Center, the Public, and the Lark. What is clear is that wherever May is working, she fosters deep connection and community inside and around the work she's creating. The stories she tells often illuminate underrepresented perspectives and create dialogue on politically relevant and urgent issues. And they often do so through truly innovative design, multimedia, and immersive storytelling. Anyone who is lucky enough to see her productions of Qui Gwyn's Vietgone or Poor Yellow Rednecks at Manhattan Theater Club know exactly what I'm talking about. Much in the vein of Zelda, who would definitely also approve of May's fabulous personal fashion sense, May leads as a risk taker, a consummate mentor, now also heading the theater program at Fordham University, and as a gifted and curious visionary, on stage and off. Best of all, what ties May's wide-ranging body of work together is joy.
It is such an extraordinary honor to be named a finalist of the Zelda Fitzchandler Award. I first met Zelda at a TCG conference, fresh out of undergrad, in a bathroom after her keynote speech. With my eyes wet with tears, I thanked her for making it all seem possible. I remember her looking me directly in the eyes and saying, "It is possible, don't ever give up." She demonstrated through her storied career what tenacity and resilience would manifest in the theater. So thank you, Zelda, and the SDCF community for your belief in the next generation, in women, in those from underrepresented communities, and for those without said pedigree, and for those who simply have a dream to create theater. Your leadership and mentorship inspires me to do the same. Thank you.
Our second finalist shares not only May Adrales' inherent joy in the work, but once again, a Zelda-worthy fashion sense. Tinashe Kajese Bolden is a multifaceted artist and artistic leader whose passion and generosity is palpable in every room that she enters. She's all about service, artistic innovation, and collective empowerment. Her long relationship with the Alliance Theater and the Atlanta community, starting as an actor and educator, and then as an inspired director, and now as the Alliance's co-artistic director with Christopher Moses, is proof of her transformational and enduring impact as a citizen artist. Among her many recent accomplishments, she stewarded the Reiser Atlanta Artists Lab, cultivating new works for Atlanta-based artists, and oversaw the Spelman Leadership Fellowship, the first mentorship program of its kind, partnering a regional theater with a historically Black college and university to offer paid career opportunities for students interested in arts leadership positions. Tinashe is thriving in her commitment to reflect an ever-evolving, complicated, and diverse South, and the Alliance is thriving right along with her.
Thank you so much for this recognition and the inspired company of artists that it puts me in the same conversation with. I love what I do. I love that every day I get to entice and empower other artists to bring their own slice of genius to a room, and that I get to sit in front of them and see another human being make a profound discovery about their own humanity and then channel that into this vibrant invitation to live life in its fullest expression. So thank you so much for recognizing the work of directors who plant their artistry at the intersection of community empowerment and complicated human stories. Thank you.
I want to end with a quote of Zelda's that I just reread in The Long Revolution, the recently published compilation of Zelda's speeches and writings, so lovingly and importantly edited by Todd London. We need now what we have always needed: stamina to persist, capacity for deep interiority on the one hand, and a practical manipulativeness on the other. Concentration to hear one's own voice, and courage to listen to it in the midst of a cacophony of other voices. And toughness in the service of something that is tender, while you try to remain tender yourself. Raymond, May, and Tinashe are heeding Zelda's call, and I can't wait to see all that lies ahead for them and for us as they continue to make their mark in their communities and on our evolving American theater. Congratulations again. And now I will turn it to Jamil Jude to introduce this year's Zelda Fitzchandler Award winner.
Hello, everyone. It's Jamil Jude, Artistic Director of True Colors Theater Company, and I'm here to welcome and introduce the Zelda Fitzchandler Award winner, Raymond O. Caldwell. And I can't even begin to tell you how much pleasure it brings me to say those words. Raymond Caldwell has meant so much to me. He's a close friend, a confidant, and one of my artistic inspirations. Our relationship started during our time at Zelda's Playground Arena Stage during our fellowship years. From that moment, I found in Raymond a kindred spirit, someone who looked at the world the same way that I did and wanted to attack it with a level of veracity and truth, unlike what I had been introduced to. I was fairly novice as a theater maker, and Raymond, and even in his little bit of experience that he had at the time, introduced me to a new world and a new way of thinking. And ever since then, I've followed his career, wanting to impact audiences the way in which I've seen him impact audiences. And this award, named after Zelda Fitzchandler, someone who inspired both Raymond and I during our time at Arena Stage, having the opportunity to learn directly from her, read her work, sit and listen and talk to her. I know that Raymond is extremely proud of himself, but that in all of the ways in which Zelda has poured into him, that she's somewhere smiling about this as well. Raymond, you are so great at what you do. I'm so thankful that SDC and your peers have recognized you in this way, brother. This is just the beginning. You all who are a little unfamiliar with Raymond's work know that even as Artistic Director of Theater Alliance, that he brought a new wave of artistry and intelligence to the work being done there in the Anacostia region in DC. But even prior to that, his work internationally, telling stories, bringing stories directly into communities in India, in Africa, and all across the world. Raymond is a global storyteller. His background is full of global experiences and stories. And I'm just so proud of you, so thankful that SDC is recognizing you. And for those of you who don't know quite yet who this dynamic individual is, you're getting a chance to witness and experience. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome you all to the 2024 award winner, Zelda Fitzchandler Award winner, Raymond O. Caldwell. Congrats, Raymond.
Thank you, Jamil. Growing up and learning alongside you over the last decade has been one of the greatest gifts of my life. I appreciate you, my brother. Hi, everyone. I'm so honored to be the 2023 Zelda Fitzchandler Award recipient. I want to thank SDCF for this incredible recognition and take a moment to also recognize the other amazing finalists. It's an honor to be here today alongside you both. Receiving this award was such an honor for a number of reasons, most profoundly because of the namesake of the award. 16 years ago, I arrived in Washington, D.C. as a fellow in the Community Engagement Department at Arena Stage. I knew I wanted to be an artistic director, but I had no idea how to make that happen. Guy Berquist and Stacy Stewart were among my first mentors while on that fellowship, and it so happened that they were also close with Zelda Fitzchandler. They told her that I aspired to leadership too, so as luck would have it, I found myself spending all of these unexpected moments with this legend of the American theater. Her words and ideas washed over me and made this dream I was holding all the more clear. Looking back, those moments transformed the trajectory of my career. What I learned was at the center of what Zelda built was a deep sense of community, a commitment to the people who called Washington, D.C. home, and a responsibility for the cultural sector of this great city-state. I was deeply inspired by the way she spoke about the purpose of theater and her goals of the regional theater movement. So as I and a new generation of theater leaders confront this moment and ideate over the future of our field, I often find myself going back to those early moments with Zelda, constantly reminding myself of the intentionality of why we tell stories on a stage, why we gather, to sit in a room and think deeply about what our community is confronting in their lived lives, creating a space for a shared emotional experience, a space together. Togetherness is what we need now more than ever. Zelda continues to reinforce those lessons within me. I hear her voice at every rehearsal and at every opening and closing night. I thank her for those earliest lessons. I'm also so grateful to be some small part of the Washington, D.C. theater community. Thank you, D.C., for giving me a space to grow, learn, make mistakes, make waves, lead, and make some really cutting-edge, dope art. D.C. is the first city I've ever called home. I hope to always make Chocolate City proud. And finally, a huge thanks to my husband, Eric, siblings, parents, Jen Clements, and my homies spread all over the world. You constantly inspire me to grow my dreams and push the boundaries of my imagination. You're the reason I keep trying. You're the reason I make art. I love y'all and will forever be thankful to you, my village. Thanks, y'all.
Congratulations, Raymond. Your work and your passion are inspirational. Hi, everybody. I'm Neil Keller, and I'm thrilled to be here representing the Gordon Davidson Award Committee. I was joined on this year's committee by Sheldon Epps, Michael John Garces, Tom Moore, Laura Penn, Lisa Peterson, and Warner Shook. We also received great help and support from Gordon's daughter, Rachel Davidson, and Danny Barlow at the SDC Foundation. I want to thank all of them for their time and dedication. It's always a joy to meet with them throughout the year and to share Gordon Davidson stories. We always remember his artistry, his mentorship, his advocacy, and his strong social consciousness. This year, we also thought often about the courage behind his convictions, what my grandmother would have called his cussedness. Gordon was willing to stand his ground, to be difficult, and to fight for what he believed was right. And what he believed was right was that theater is important, that the artists who make it need to be supported, and that the audiences should be welcomed in to see the work and then argue about it passionately. He believed regional theaters had a responsibility to be socially active and politically engaged in their communities. He didn't believe much in safety or caution. In this time, when our field is being buffeted on so many fronts, Gordon's fighting spirit seems especially important to remember. This award was created at SDC Foundation to help keep Gordon's memory fresh in our hearts and to recognize directors and choreographers whose lifetime contributions share Gordon's powerful commitments and passions. Each year, we hope the award reminds us of how much we have received from those who came before us and how much we can share with those who follow. I'm so happy now to turn things over to my dear friend Lisa Peterson, who will introduce the recipient of this year's Gordon Davidson Award.
Hi, everybody. I'm Lisa Peterson, and I feel so lucky today to be able to talk for a moment about a great artist and friend. There are a few people who move through the world with such curiosity that they sweep us along with them. When a person like this devotes themselves to the art of directing, it can be an electric combination. So it is with the incomparable Anne Bogart. Her bio to date is unique and impressive, Anne has won numerous awards, a handful of Obies, including a recent one for Lifetime Achievement, as well as Guggenheim, Rockefeller, and Doris Duke Fellowships for her groundbreaking work as a director. Anne built an incredible theater company, the City Company, with Tadashi Suzuki and a group of like-minded artists. And that company made great art for 3 decades. But also it built a training program that inspired generations of performers and directors. Anne recognized that a choreographic idea called viewpoints might help directors learn how to storytell in space and time. And she translated it into a system that has influenced nearly every American director in the last few decades. I mean, fess up, who hasn't at least heard of, if not used, the principles of viewpoints. Anne is a teacher. She has run the graduate directing program at Columbia University for over 20 years, identifying and inspiring cohorts of thoughtful and courageous emerging directorial minds. Anne directs opera here in the States and in Europe. Anne has written 6 books. She has touched the lives and the careers of so many theater makers in this country that it's hard to even guess at the number. Anne is an icon. But as Anne herself might ask, what is an icon exactly? Webster's says an icon is, quote, a person who is widely admired, especially for having great influence or significance in a particular sphere. Well, that is Anne Bogart. Anne leads with curiosity. I don't know another director who loves questions as much as Anne does, who loves learning new things, who loves delving into a subject or a problem and coming out the other end with observations that might even lead to revolutionary answers to those questions. Years ago, Anne told me that she keeps learning new languages in order to keep her brain young. At the time, I think she probably was fluent in at least 4 languages, and I can only imagine how many languages Anne speaks now. Anne is a watcher. She is intense. When she looks, she really looks. The art of watching and listening, that's Anne's genius. Anne loves collaborators. She loves actors and designers and has modeled a way of working that is democratic at its core. Anne has the ability as a teacher and a writer to look at our art form and propose new systems of understanding without being precious. The new book that City Company created after ending their 30-year run with such elegance is called This Is Not a Handbook. To quote from Anne's The Art of Resonance, I love this book. She writes, our job as artists is to become consciously resonant to the world rather than alienated from it, to connect with others and to create the conditions for resonance among us, asking, what are we doing, how are we doing it, and why? Anne's hunger for beauty, for knowledge, for a better way to express them on a stage continues to inspire so many of us. I couldn't be happier to introduce to you the recipient of the 2023 Gordon Davidson Award for Lifetime Achievement, Anne Bogart.
First and foremost, I wish to thank those of you who have supported me, believed in me, and chosen me for this award. Since hearing that I was to receive the Gordon Davidson Award, I have felt lifted upwards by friends and colleagues who have reached out to congratulate me. Their encouragement feels profound. And isn't this the point of what we do in the theater? We connect with one another to acknowledge our common plight, share warmth and inspiration, and then go forth together. If we can step back from issues of career, projects, and ambitions for just a moment and widen our perspective, it is possible to perceive our profound and meaningful quantum entanglement with others. We do not construct ourselves by ourselves. Our character grows through the influence and interactions with others. We are not an island. Gordon Davidson is part of the root system of the American theater and a source of great nourishment for me and for the many people fortunate enough to encounter him. I venture to guess that even for those who never met him, he exerts an influence. I'm both proud and grateful to be chosen to receive the Gordon Davidson Award, and in the spirit of his pervasive influence and ongoing impact, I asked several colleagues close to Gordon the following question: what would Gordon Davidson do or say? Here I've sampled the portions of their responses that I personally relate to most, things that I too learned from him. Brian Kulick described what he called Gordon's Socratic jujitsu, or how he would diffuse difficult or confrontational situations. Brian said, quote, "When an audience member posed a provocative or aggressive question or statement, Gordon would always respond with, 'What do you mean?' The person would usually end up restating their provocative or aggressive question or statement in a little less provocative or aggressive way. To which Gordon would say, 'But what do you mean?' Which forced the person to search for other words, to which Gordon would say, 'But what does that mean?' This would go on until the person either found a more nuanced way of speaking to the issue at hand or just gave up." End quote. Robert Egan, who worked closely with Gordon at the Taper for 22 years, emailed me an immense and heartfelt treatise, which, for those who know Robert, is not unusual. Here's the part that I relate to the most personally. Quote, "My meditation about Gordon is about his humility. Since many find this surprising, since Gordon did have a pretty healthy ego and engaged the world with enthusiasm and confidence. Why humility is my Gordon meditation? Gordon never, ever regaled me or the staff with glorious tales of his past achievements. He never talked about them, never boasted about his Tony Awards, or the famous artists with whom he worked and hung out, or the multitude of honors. From day one, his vision was always forward-looking. How do we get better every day? How do we embrace excellence? How do we more deeply connect with our community? How do we address the injustice and iniquity of our time? And despite his success, his international status, Gordon showed up to every reading, every preview, every workshop, every tea, every cocktail event. And we had something going on almost every day. He was everywhere. He loved the Taper, the theater, and artists. They were family to him. And he was humble because he always wanted to grow, to be better, to move forward." End quote. In concert with Robert's comments, Lisa Peterson wrote, quote, "My primary image of Gordon is really his constant, devoted presence at the theater. He was always hopping up on the Taper stage to talk to the audience, either before the play to greet them, make them feel at home, or sometimes after to encourage them to stay for his talkback. He was always, always hosting. And then, after plays, in previews, these long meetings with the writers and director around a table at the restaurant. We would hash it out. He would ask tough questions, and even though these sessions could be grueling, it always felt like he was coaching from passion. Not pressing like a producer, you know? He loved the hash out. He'd ask, "What do you want to communicate? Do you feel like you're doing that?" Always, always interrogating, end quote. Robert Woodruff emailed from Thailand, quote, "I had done a handful of projects for Gordon at the Taper. After coming up to see Brecht's ball at Trinity Rep, Gordon invited me to have dinner with him in New York. Very nice dinner, it turns out. Towards the end of the meal, he moved his face close to mine, looked at me deeply in the eyes, and said, 'I love you. I love your work, but I could never hire you again after seeing that production. I couldn't trust you with my audience again. I think I loved him more after that. Never met such an honest and loving producer." End quote. Here's Che Yu, quote, "A seminal thing Gordon said, which I carried with me throughout my theater life, especially as an artistic director, was that the theater belongs to the people, and it should be the town square of the community. I've always emulated that while leading a theater and as an artist," end quote. And finally, Chuck Mee said, quote, "I've known him since about 1958 when he was selling Coca-Cola and souvenirs at the Stratford, Connecticut Shakespeare Festival. He would do whatever he needed to do to survive and work in the theater," end quote. The current root system of the American theater selected me to receive this wonderful award. I'm so honored to be part of its lineage that includes my colleagues and previous award winners, Oscar Eustis, Lisa Peterson, Sorette Scott, Emily Mann, and Donald Byrd. In my own interactions with Gordon Davidson, I learned how each one of us builds a culture every time we interact with another person. And it's impossible to opt out. All we can do is decide what sort of impact and contribution we are each going to make and go forward together. Thank you.
And my beloved colleague, my friend, my mentor, my sister, I'm sending you my loving congratulations for this award. A lifetime achievement. I hope it's not. I hope some of the best of it is yet ahead of you. And I hope I get to see some of that, and I hope I get to walk shoulder to shoulder with you in some of it.
Anne, it's GM. Congrats on this amazing award. It's incredibly well deserved. I love you so much.
Hello, Susan Stroman here. Congratulations, Anne. This award is so well deserved. I have admired you forever. You are a visionary director and a spectacular teacher. Have a wonderful time. Congratulations.
And I wanted to wish you congratulations on this award. You have been a mentor to me and an inspiration. Thank you for everything that you've done for the American theater and theater as a whole. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Anne Bogart, on this well-deserved recognition. May you be blessed to have many more to share with us. Congratulations again.
Hi, Anne. Congratulations on this tremendous and well-deserved honor. I'm so grateful to have been such a small part of your theater legacy at Columbia and with City Company. I love you so much. Congratulations.
Hello, Anne. I just wanted to say congratulations on this extremely well-deserved achievement. Wishing you all the best. Thank you for everything that you've given to the theater. Bye-bye.
Congratulations, Anne.
Anne, おめでとうございます。
Congratulations, Anne. You are an inspiration to all of us.
Hi, everybody. It's Barney. I hope you're all well. Hey, Anne, I'm sending much love and infinite congratulations on your Lifetime Achievement honor. It's super cool. I hope you're having a great celebration. And I love you, and I miss you a lot. Okay, bye, everybody.
And hi. Congratulations on this well-deserved Gordon Davidson Award. Celebrating a career as a scholar, as a teacher, as a director, as a creator, and as a friend. It's been 30 years of joy working with you. It's been a journey that we've been able to share with you, and I'm grateful for that and for how you've influenced so many of us in the company and outside of the company. Congratulations, Anne, and continued journey. We miss you, and we love you.
Hello again, everyone. What a beautiful evening with such deeply inspirational people. I feel so honored to be the host tonight and be able to observe all of this. As tonight's show comes to a close, I would like to leave you with a quote from the legendary Zelda Fichandler. She famously said, "There is a hunger to see the human presence acted out. As long as that need remains, people will find a way to do theater." Tonight's honorees have shown us that they are leading the charge to make Zelda's call. The work has not only explored the human experience on stage, but making us all acknowledge our humanity in a joyful process of making the work. Thank you everyone for being here tonight and gathering to support some of the extraordinary STC members. Congratulations once again to all of the winners and finalists. Everyone, get home safe. Unless you're already at home, so stay at home safe in your pajamas, and we'll see you next time. Good night.
Testing, 1, 2.
They decided to do construction outside of my apartment. They're drilling stuff, and I can't record.
Being Haitian American and getting to partner with Jeff Augustine, brilliant playwright, Where am I from?
The stories she tells often illuminate underrepresented. Sorry. I'm going again.
It is such an honor to be recognized for my work on Where the Light is Blinking. Do you see that? It's like some of these stop blinking.
We drip.
But of course, at one time, she was just like the rest of us, a young person. Okay, I'm going to start over. Said young person twice. See,
This award in his honor was created at SDF Foundation to help Gordon's. Oops, I messed that up.
And I am tickled and thrilled to present the SDC Joe A. Calloway Award for Excellence in Choreography. I gotta stop. It's outstanding choreography.
And recipients of the Calloway Awards, which is celebrating the excellence in directing and choreography off-Broadway, the Zelda Fichandler Award for the deep investment and artistic accomplishment.
I said SDF. I'll back up and do it again. All right, and I'll slow down, Ellie, I promise. Okay.